Hello everybody. Welcome back for another video. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all doing fantastic. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. There's a link in the description below, as well as some links to some very good books on finance. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Still on the optimism train. Once again, not knocking it. It's just fascinating to see how many people are really like bullish on the cryptocurrency space. There's a bit of a trend in this video. You'll be able to definitely pick it up. I'm not really sure why this keeps coming back into the news every now and again, but alas, here we are. In very popular news, we have Samson Mow. Once again, Samson Mow, the person who is famous for talking about that Bitcoin's going to $1 million. He's not the first, but he is definitely the most adamant. Samson Mow tends to pop up in the news every now and again, and he usually keeps discussing kind of similar topics, but this one for some reason was very popular. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Samson Mow, the CEO of Jan 3, has indicated that Bitcoin has one major difference from gold, despite always being compared to it. The only people, and I say this nicely, the only people who keep comparing Bitcoin to gold are like people who got into Bitcoin in like 2012, 2013. And there was like a narrative back then that Bitcoin would eventually be digital gold. No one really talks about it that way anymore. No one believes that Bitcoin is gold. We should all have some kind of a general sense of knowledge that Bitcoin is better than gold as far as being able to fractionalize it, move it quickly around the world. It takes, seconds, if not a while to, finalize the actual transaction. But I don't know why. So this was Samson Mow, Kathy Mouse. What's her name? Kathy Wood. Geez Louise. And a lot of the other people, they keep talking about Bitcoin versus gold, and it's like no one's doubting you. Instead of having physical bearing, he says knowledge is key to Bitcoin ownership, the seasoned blockchain entrepreneur points out. I don't know, maybe he has a lot of friends who are heavily invested in gold. It has to be something, right? There's a reason why he's not comparing it to broccoli or mud. I assume, there are a lot of other investors who really like gold, but you can't convince them otherwise despite actual numbers and logic. As far as we know that gold has nearly doubled in price over the last 15 years, while Bitcoin went from 1 cent to $100,000. So the logic just isn't logicking, but okay. The core difference between Bitcoin and gold, well, there's a lot of them. Gold is metal that we found in the ground thousands of years ago that people melted and put onto their heads, and they were like, hey, that looks really pretty. Oh my gosh, like that burning thing in the sky, when it touches the metal on your head, it makes it even prettier. And then at some point, humans, for those of you who don't know, humans used to use gigantic boulders as currency, not in a joking way. Imagine a gigantic boulder and now rolling that to your friend's house to pay him for something. And then that eventually became smaller rocks. And then that became seashells. And then that became people being like, oh, my grandfather found this land, so therefore I'm the king. And then they melted that metal that they found in the ground and then crudely drew faces on it. And that's basically where there's a lot of differences between Bitcoin and gold. Apparently, it's the nature of ownership in the two assets. While for gold, private key knowledge is essential to owning the asset. Gold remains the bearer's asset with necessary physical possession. And here's the tweet for it, right? I'm going to be 1,000% honest with you. I don't know why this keeps popping up in popular news or what have you. But yeah, Samson Mow always ends up making very popular news because he's always saying that like gold isn't as good and that Bitcoin's going to $1 million. So I was like, okay, that sounds cool. I didn't know that one. I can't imagine what these people are going to do when Bitcoin actually goes to $1 million. Because they've all been talking about $1 million Bitcoin. So when it goes to 1 million, will they then be like, hey, it's going to 10 million because gold is yellow and it's found in the ground or something. I don't know, along those things. I guess tying loosely into that is also very popular news of a crypto researcher who apparently says he has a Monte Carlo model for Bitcoin. Yeah. Mark Quant, a crypto researcher, has performed a Monte Carlo simulation to analyze Bitcoin's price, providing a 6-month forecast for Bitcoin. The Monte Carlo model is a computational method using random sampling to simulate price projections and assess risk. It can generate multiple possible scenarios based on various factors such as volatility and market trends. Fantastic. Based on the price where he started this, and we're talking to people on Twitter, of $82,000, the study estimates a final price of $258,000 by the end of September of this year. However, on a broader scale, I guess one of the other computational models, the price was expected to fluctuate between $51,000, a 5th percentile return, and $713,000 US per coin at the 95th percentile. Cool. This also made news. I listen, if we can be honest with ourselves, I assume this became popular news as well because of a Bitcoin price prediction, B, a $713,000 price prediction, and C, because of the word Monte Carlo. I assume that's probably why it also was popular. If you've never been to Monte Carlo, it's very pretty. It's a very pretty building. It's a very pretty inside. People look at you like you're not rich enough to be there, but don't let them judge you. Monaco is also very pretty. If you've never been to Monaco, I would highly recommend it. It's quite a nice place. It's actually voted quite often next to Dubai and one other place as one of the few places on the planet where people actually feel safe, like wearing diamonds and jewels and rubies. Just, random information in case you wanted to actually know. There's so many cameras and policemen per person in Monaco. It's listed as like one of the places where rich people feel the safest. Just, in case you wanted to know that. That's the Monte Carlo simulation for Bitcoin's price. Popular news. Apparently for a 6-month forecast. Let me see. Okay. So apparently by September, $258,000 and or $713,000. If you missed the other recent video, that guy who quickly or correctly predicted Bitcoin's price back in November. What did he say? I think he said a $400,000 Bitcoin in the next couple of months. For those of you who somehow managed to dodge it, every analyst right now believes that Bitcoin is like on the up and 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 up, and that like we're going to see a good couple of months of nonstop movement upwards. That is in case we get some other kind of weird, crazy news in the market over the course of the next couple of months. That's the Samson Mow. $1 million per Bitcoin is better than gold. And Mark Quant with the Monte Carlo simulation. Fantastic. And yeah, let's move on. I don't know why people won't. I'm going to be nice here. State Street, for those of you who don't know, they're one of the three. One, two, three. State Street is one of the three companies that owns 88% of the U.S. stock market. Look it up. Type in 88% stock market, State Street. It's State Street, Vanguard, and BlackRock. The last month or so, they've more or less announced to the world that they're definitely in the cryptocurrency space. No rumors, thank goodness, as of yet, of them trying to launch their own cryptocurrency ETFs, but they've been very bullish on Bitcoin and where the price is going to go and their price predictions and all these other things. I forgot what they're trying to do. I think recently they announced some kind of custody, or they're working with Coinbase. I forgot exactly what it is. State Street, the world's largest exchange-traded fund service, has reported that demand for crypto ETFs is expected to surpass that of precious metal ETFs in North America by the end of this year. I do not understand why everyone is so obsessed with gold in this market. It's been a narrative for some time that Bitcoin will eventuastically, not a word, pass by the entire market cap valuation of gold and therefore will be better than gold. It's really one of those, remember how I told you before, back in 2016, all that anyone could talk about was 2025 and 2032 within the crypto space. How high Bitcoin's price is going to be. How much is Bitcoin going to be? It kept on going on and on. The one thing that's been happening nonstop is this discussion. Bitcoin needs to be this price to pass by the valuation of gold. And it's like, please just do it already so we can stop having this conversation. We know it's going to happen. It is mathematically programmed. We know that Bitcoin is going to go over $1 million at some point. It'll pass by the valuation of gold. And that's what I was saying. I don't know what people are going to do when it happens. This is all they've been talking about, as if it's like some kind of like a mythical Pokemon that we just can't see. We know it's going to pass by it. We are well aware that it's going to happen. But of course, now the narrative is from State Street that crypto ETFs are going to surpass precious metal ETFs, which is like, woo, wow, I can't believe it. Even crazier. Last year, I mean, this should be a freaking given. Last year, we had the news that of every ETF ever created, you know which one did better than all of them? Yeah, it was BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF. Did you hear the words I said? Every ETF. Not 87%, not 92%. It was the best performing ETF ever. Ever. It's obviously going to pass by precious metal ETFs. And they're saying it'll happen by the end of this year. This would make digital token ETFs the third largest asset class in the $15 trillion ETF market, behind equities and bonds, and ahead of real estate and multi-asset funds. If you missed it recently as well, it was BlackRock who announced twice. BlackRock announced that, oh gosh, what was it? They said that Bitcoin's going to overtake the entire value of all United States real estate. That is $50 trillion, my friends. But I forgot what it was about equities. Oh gosh, I don't remember. They were talking about something with Bitcoin becoming like some kind of an asset class that would basically also cause people to sell off their equities, bonds, and gold, and that money would move into crypto. I think that's what it was. But the one that always tickles my funny bone is the idea of imagine in the next 10 years, Bitcoin's market cap is higher than all real estate within the United States. That one is That's what people should be more focused on rather than gold. It's once again not that gold isn't important. We use it in our phones and our teeth. I don't know what people are doing with gold now, but it's like I'd rather, be like, hey, let's have Bitcoin go over the entire valuation of all real estate in America is crazy. State Street's global head of ETF solutions, his name is Frank Kudelka, stated, "We have been very surprised by the speed of growth in crypto. I expect there to be pent-up demand, but I expected there to be pent-up demand, but I didn't expect it to be as strong as it was." Kudelka also shared that the data is showing more advisors are interested in cryptocurrencies as part of their portfolios. As of now, spot cryptocurrency ETFs, which were only introduced in the US last year, have already amassed $136 billion in assets. Oh, that was the other thing. It was, it was BlackRock and other company. They said that they're expecting the amount of, the amount of money in crypto ETFs within the United States to surpass or get near $5 trillion. And I think that was by the beginning of next year or something like that. 5 trillion. 136 billion right now, multi-trillion by the end of this year. And this also, for those of you who haven't been keeping count, this is how you get to that $1 million Bitcoin price prediction. Is basically like the supply crunch of supply crunches. Cool. State Street is officially into crypto. We got that a while ago. For some reason, everyone is obsessed with the idea of passing by precious metals. I personally don't think it's that worthy of a discussion, but it's all that the big players are talking about. And I'll say it this way. Maybe because I'm not a State Street and I'm not a BlackRock, maybe I can't conceptualize what this information actually means for institutions who may be on the fence about getting into crypto. So if State Street says, hey, the thing you as an institution currently have your money in will not perform as well as the thing you don't have your money in, then maybe that is the thing that causes them to shift over, because they go, if State Street said it, then we should start moving. Otherwise I can't. It must be like a big money thing. At some point, Bitcoin and crypto ETFs are going to take over precious metals. No one should really be surprised. And I mean, even more so, people should be happy. If precious metal prices drop, it then becomes easier for all these companies to acquire it to make, new phones and tablets and stuff like that, Anywho, that's the State Street news. Fantastic. Wonderful. All right. Okay. Let's move on. Also in the news, once again, because it never ends, Tokyo-based investment giant, I wouldn't say giant, calm down, Metaplanet has added another 497 BTC to their treasury on Wednesday. It says despite recent market volatility. No, that's when you want to buy. If any of you write cryptocurrency articles, for the love of God, can you please understand that that's when you usually want to buy? Is when you see the actual volatility. So when prices go lower during the volatile period, you scoop it up. Also, there's no real dramatic distinction between you acquiring Bitcoin at 80,000 or 83,000. 90,000 or 92,000, 97,000 or 100,000, you're going to buy because you're trying to get something that's incredibly finite. Institutions don't shy away because there's volatility in any market. They buy whether prices are high or whether prices are low. There's so many articles constantly being written. 2 days ago, prices dropped and they still bought. We're seeing a lot of whale activities despite drops in price. And it's like, do you know how money works? Do you know that people just kind of continuously... The purchase of $43.3 million worth of Bitcoin brings their total stash to, this makes sense, to $2.888 So 2,888 BTC with an aggregated amount of 240 million US dollars. If I remember correctly, correct me if I am incorrect, isn't 8 very like big in Asia? I know it's big in China, but I think within Asia in general, the number 8 typically has to do like it's the symbol of infinity. So a lot of people will gift other people like $88 and, you know, kind of things like that, because we've seen that before as well. There was another company a couple of years ago who got into crypto, stretching, who was in Asia, and they also, I think they had initially acquired 888 Bitcoin as kind of like a symbol of peace, prosperity, and eternity, and all these other kinds of things. Metaplanet is still, I don't know how they're going to do it unless they really ramp things up, because they're trying to acquire this year 21,000 Bitcoin. They want 1% of all the Bitcoin that there is. It's not that they're not doing a good job. I don't have the money to buy 2,800, nonetheless 497 Bitcoin. But it's more of a, if you have big ambitions, you got to also have the bank account for it as well. You can't say you want 21,000 Bitcoin. Because what if Bitcoin does price? Oh, Jesus. Wait, no, I was right. What if Bitcoin, no, here we go. What if Bitcoin's price does, English, there we go, actually start pumping, and we get to a $200, $300, $400, $713,000 Bitcoin, or $1 million, so saith Samson Mow. You know, it's going to be kind of difficult to get to 21,000 Bitcoin. Here's a little tweet for it right here. They said, ladies and gentlemen, we have blast off. And then they have a thing showing the Bitcoin holdings of the company. Woo, crazy. Yeah, Metaplanet is in the news at least like twice a week now. They're constantly buying more Bitcoin. They're doing it a la what's it called? Almost said a la creme. That doesn't make any sense. Similar to MicroStrategy. They're following their thing where they keep issuing debt against the company. And cool. Fantastic. So once again, I would say I hope it works out for them. This company is holding hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. It's going to work out for them, you know, so I guess pat yourself on the back for how rich you are. I don't really know what to say there. Cool. Can't wait to hear about them again in the next 72 hours, because they're going to have bought more Bitcoin. But getting to 21,000, I wish you the best of luck, because that's pretty gosh darn far away. That's the Metaplanet news. And yeah, let's move on. In news that I think we're supposed to care about, and I'll try and tell you why, the Nasdaq has recently revealed that it plans on allowing 24-hour trading on its stock exchange. The stock exchange said that it was pending regulatory approval and alignment with critical industry infrastructure providers. Nasdaq's president, Tal Cohen, said the issue related to risk management, trade surveillance, and ensuring ample liquidity should be addressed first. One of the interesting things from almost a decade ago that actually, and it never crossed my mind, that actually got a lot of institutions into crypto was the fact that it was open 24 hours. It never even entered my mind, because I don't know. I think being used to crypto, we're used to this idea of like, yeah, of course, you can wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and you can trade crypto. It's like a 24-hour, like, you know, bunch of liquidity. When one side of the world is asleep, the other one's open. They provide the liquidity, and kind of vice versa. So there have been rumors for a number of years that stock exchanges, at least within the US, would at some point begin to offer this as well. If I remember correctly from the speculation, and I mean this is like a good 4 or 5 years ago, they were attempting to do this back then as a way to kind of like combat cryptocurrencies. The idea was like, well, crypto's getting all the attention because they can trade 24/7. So let's do it to the stock exchanges as well. But a lot of these run on like, they're not old systems, but like it's very established that markets don't open up until a certain time. At this certain time in the afternoon, markets close. Markets aren't open when there's this holiday. This person sneezed 400 years ago. We also can't have any markets open as well. But I think that would like really profoundly, completely change the way that all markets actually work. And it's not that I don't think that stock exchanges would be able to handle it. The people who run these stock exchanges and like the actual liquidity providers or market makers, as they're called, the BlackRocks, the State Street, the Vanguards, they're not usually used to like relinquishing power. So you would have to essentially understand that while the Americans are sleeping, the people in Asia and in Europe would be able to kind of like move markets around without the Americans knowing. And I don't think that they're going to be up for that. That's just a personal thing, simply because of like what could happen to valuations. It's like a lot of times when you hear that like crypto futures or like are down, or like the stock exchange futures are down, it's because of things that are happening in Europe. So when people in America wake up, the market's already kind of moved, but they haven't had access to it. Anyway, the point is, yeah, this was like, it's not old news, but I mean, it's definitely like 6 years ago that this became like a major thing that people were talking about, and is mainly due to like the hyper level of like liquidity that you would need, and also like making sure that you have the proper infrastructure for it. The Nasdaq announced on the 7th of March that they're seeking regulator permission to expand trading hours on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange, the world's biggest stock exchange. The exchange wants to launch a 24-hour trading through Monday through Friday. Once again, still not Saturday and Sunday. I don't think that they're actually ready for this. And I don't think it'll ever actually be something that will be complete. We've existed in the world for the last 150, nearly 200 years. Don't look at what Wall Street originally was. That has always existed in like, okay, well, it's bedtime. And then people kind of leave. Like when you leave the office, that's when the market's closed. And any other kind of holidays in between. The stock exchange plans to submit filings seeking approval for regulators on Friday, according to a source familiar. They require the SEC to sign off before moving ahead with the plan. And here's a tweet for it right here. So it's not that it's not exciting, but it's one of those things where I go, why was this on every single cryptocurrency platform? This doesn't, it does and does not affect crypto. So it would affect cryptocurrency stocks, but I don't use them. Does the Nasdaq have crypto trading on their platform? If they did, it wouldn't stop when the closing bell happens. There's also Robinhood, there's Coinbase, there's Gemini, there's Kraken, there's Binance. They all have apps. They all already run 24 hours a day. So I don't know. Good luck to them. I assume it also has to do with like a wanting extra money. There's been like a really weird thing with rich people recently where like they feel like they don't have enough and they want like more, but not like more. They want like kind of everything. So I assume this also has to do in part with market makers and like people with a lot of money being like, hey, if we could just trade like 12 more hours, we might be able to even double our profits. And it's like, okay, cool. Once again, not sure why this made popular crypto news, because that's the Nasdaq news. Wow, how cool. Look at us living in the future. 24-hour trading. No other market has ever done that. Ever. Crypto doesn't exist. This is all going to be brand new. Wow. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you've all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day. Morning, afternoon, evening. I'm not sure why everyone is so hung up on precious metals. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.